the thing, we're all gonna die. Unless you're like a vampire, or like a witch put a hex on you to live forever, or if you found the fountain of eternal youth. Those things aside, those of us who are mortal, we all gonna die. And all the stuff you've accumulated in your life, you can't take it with you. I recently decided to try out Swedish death cleaning, which I won't lie, when I first heard Swedish death cleaning, I just thought it like was some Fight Club style cleaning method. I just like pictured some fight to the death, but like with clutter. I'm not really sure. I guess I didn't really think it all the way through. That's kind of just where my mind went, but I kept hearing about it and hearing about it and hearing about it, and I was like, you know what, I gotta know more. So I bought the book that sparked it all, The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning, How to Free Yourself and Your Family from a Lifetime of Clutter, which was written by Margareta Magnusson. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right.
Excuse me. Trying to film a YouTube video. Were you hoping to learn a little more about Swedish death cleaning today, or?
It's a really easy read. I read it in like 2 days, and I won't lie, the general theory behind it is the exact perspective shift I needed right now about my clutter. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know I'm a big believer in daily decluttering. I believe in doing a little bit every day to keep your space tidy and organized and free of clutter, and it works really, really well for me. But eventually, even with daily decluttering, every home needs a good deep declutter, and this is a time to just tend to those spaces that have gotten away from you, and you're not really sure how or why, but it happened. This is reality, you guys. I make videos on YouTube about helping you guys get more organized and more productive, and yet this is currently how the dresser in my son's room looks, because this is just reality. So what is Swedish death cleaning? Well, it's the basic idea that eventually we're all gonna die, and we don't want our stuff to become a burden on our loved ones once we're gone. In Sweden, there's this kind of decluttering called, and I am sure I'm going to mispronounce this, but it's do standing. Do meaning death and standing meaning cleaning. And it's the process usually started between 50 and 65 years old of clearing out unnecessary things so that when you are gone, your loved ones aren't left to sort through it all. And when you look at the definition just that way, it may seem, well, polite, you know, a little bit morbid, but it's actually an extremely peaceful and freeing process, and it can be adopted by anyone at any point in life. The real idea behind death cleaning is just to unburden yourself from your clutter. The origin has to do with decluttering in old age so that your clutter doesn't become a burden for someone else, but the practice is really about the process of letting yourself let your stuff go.
And then, you know, we've got 2 baskets, an empty shelf. Doesn't seem too cluttered, but the truth is, this basket here is just full of just nothingness. Just a bunch of stuff that I didn't know where to put it.
All right, let's take a look into the mystery basket, shall we? We have a Halloween costume. I actually did save this because I think I may use it. We used it for this year's Halloween. I think I'm going to use it for next year's Halloween, so I am going to save this one. This was a piece of Miles' Halloween costume. We're never going to use this again. I had to like glue all over it to make him a scarecrow. So this one has got to go. Why am I keeping this? All right, we got some kids' stuffed animals. We're going to put this in the kids section. Figure it out later. You know, it's a bag with his name on it. Will we use it? I don't know. I'm going to put this in the think about pile. Oh, this is a good one. This is something only somebody who has toddlers will understand. My child hates when books have jackets. I've tried all sorts of tricks. You know, the books might be cold if they don't wear their jackets. There's a piece deep down inside of me that is like, these books should have these jackets on them. You know, I was a teacher for a long time. It kind of bugs me, but I don't really need to keep a bunch of just paper jackets that now are all wrinkly and gross because they shoved them in this bag. These books are still functional without these jackets. We can probably let them go. Miles has been asking for this toy for about 3 weeks. Now we know where it is. Random piece of fabric. Oh, look. You thought I was joking. More book jackets. You hid them all the way in here. They're good books, but Callie, they work without the jackets. Gotta let go of, you know, this need and desire to keep these because I think the books need them. And let it go. Oh, good. An oven mitt. That makes sense in a toddler's room. Alright, so much better. Now the basket that's in the toddler's room actually just has toys in it.
which is what it should have and what it was originally designed to be, a basket of toys.
Throughout life, we become burdened with stuff, with so many things. So much stuff accumulates in life, and I always say the biggest issue with clutter in our life is that we have so many methods in which things enter our home and very few methods in which they leave our home. And basic math will tell you that if more comes in than goes out, you're gonna end up with more in. And so why do we hold on to all this stuff? Why don't we just let go of stuff as much as we bring it in? In the book, she mentions how we typically hold on to things because either our fear of letting go or parting with something, we think someone might want it or need it, our clutter instinct, and our hoarding instinct, because we have this like deep down instinct to hold on to things just in case of emergencies. But this is why death cleaning is actually so freeing, because when you look at getting rid of your things from the perspective of unburdening yourself and the loved ones who would have to go through this stuff when you die, it gives you this amazing new lens to look at your stuff through. It really gives you a lot of perspective about what you really need to keep. One of my favorite things she talks about in the book is for when you get to an item that you've been holding on to forever. Some things are going to be really easy to part with when you declutter, and others just won't. We all end up with these things that we just hold on to. We keep them for years and years and years, even if they aren't serving us in any way. And there's lots of reasons we do this. Maybe it's a gift someone gave you that you didn't really love. It can be hard to part with something that was gifted to you. All right, I just came across this watch that has been sitting in the drawer for probably 2 years now. My father gave it to me as a birthday present, and so it feels special to me because he gifted it to me. But the truth is, I don't wear watches, and I don't think I've ever worn this, but still the thought of getting rid of it seems wrong. Maybe you think you might need this thing someday. Maybe it holds a sentimental value to you. It's a memory of some kind. It can be especially hard to let go of things that belong to a loved one who has passed away. But in the book, she poses that you ask yourself 2 questions about an item. 1, will you use it again? And if not, will it make someone else happy? You know, is someone else going to be happier that you held on to this? 2 more examples. Almost a decade ago, my brother died unexpectedly. It was really hard. He was my only sibling. He was in his 20s, living in New York City, and he didn't have a lot of possessions. Somehow, when we went through his things, I ended up with his leather jacket that he loved to wear, and I remembered when he bought it when he first moved to New York City. So for years, I hung on to this jacket. I hung it on my coat rack. I think it was kind of for me like having him there. We moved houses. I brought it with me, hanging it at new homes, on new coat rackets, and finally, when we moved into this house, I knew it was time to part with this. I had hung it for years, but I didn't really use it. Most days I didn't even know it was there, and it was just taking up room, and I knew no one else had this random connection to this old leather jacket. I was the only one who had memories or connections to this, and I would still have those memories even when the jacket was gone, but it was hard letting it go. This is like my dead brother's favorite jacket, right? This carries some guilt associated with parting with it. But he didn't care that I had it. And someday when I'm gone, my kids are not going to want to deal with some old jacket that I held on to. I had so many other important things to remember my brother by that my kids would want and that I could keep. Another example, sort of on the opposite side, is hanging right in my Christmas tree here. My grandfather passed away this fall, and my mom used some of his old clothes to make ornaments. He loved cats. He always had at least one. Now this is something that means something, and I will use it. I'll hang it on my tree every single year. It's a far more practical memento to keep of someone. As a mom, one thing I definitely procrastinate decluttering is my kids' clothing. It's just super overwhelming to me. They grow through things so quickly, and I'm not sure that our family's done or not. So it just brings up all these questions of, do I keep it? Do I not keep it? This is probably that fear point that Margareta mentions in the book. I have a fear of getting rid of these things because what if we decide to have another kid and I need it? And it's a valid point. But I also had a boy and then a girl, and I can tell you that of the 3 extra large vacuum bags of clothing that I saved for my first child, my second child only wore about 10 of those things. So that perspective definitely really helps me when I'm going through this stuff, deciding what I should really keep. All right, can we just have a ladies only moment, please, to comment on the phenomenon that is spare tampons? I swear every time I declutter, there's always just a random spare tampon somewhere, like I've been storing them away like a squirrel in the winter. Okay, so going back to the idea of Swedish death cleaning, I know this is a super random thought, but I love murder documentaries, right? Like I could binge Forensic Files all day long. I had awful pregnancy insomnia with both of my kids, and I'd be there 2 a.m. watching murder mysteries, you know? But I also noticed this weird phenomenon when I watch a murder mystery. If I watch a murder show at night, that night before bed, I always tidy my house a little more than usual. Like, I go out of my way to tidy things because in my mind I'm thinking, if I get murdered tonight in my sleep, I don't want all these detectives and police coming into my house. Well, it's a total disaster. And I know this is a morbid, bizarre thought. I'm aware that it is absolutely ridiculous, but I also know I'm not alone because I mentioned this to you guys on Instagram and a lot of you said you totally do it too. Anyways, the point is, when you think, I might not be here tomorrow, it just becomes so much easier in your mind to tidy and clear your space. So I've been using this general idea of Swedish death cleaning for a couple of weeks now, and I'm just totally in love with it. I love how absolutely freeing it is when you can allow yourself to let go of something. When you can look at it and say, this isn't serving me, I don't need it, and none of my loved ones will want this when I'm gone. And then you can let yourself let it go. Now listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I'm definitely not a minimalist. I never will be, but I've gotten really good at letting go of things in my home as a daily habit of decluttering. And I know that excess stuff doesn't make my life easier, but instead it burdens me. It causes me stress, it causes me anxiety, it makes it hard to find things. Sometimes we think, oh, I'll keep this because I just might need it, but we don't realize how much this extra stuff is actually burdening us. So I just love the sort of liberating perspective that Swedish death cleaning gives you with your stuff. One day you won't be here and you can't take your stuff with you. Like I said, 2021 has been a big year and has just been the perfect mindset that I needed to tackle through some of the areas that had just gotten really out of hand.
After you're done, the best thing about decluttering is always that amazing realization that you have so much more space than you realize when you part with the things that you didn't need. I live in a home that's just about 1,100 square feet with 2 kids and 2 adults working from home full time. It's not a super big house, so you think we'd be bursting at the seams, but look at all this spare room that we still have, totally empty drawers. It's a really great feeling. It honestly changes the entire mood of a space when it is not burdened down with extra stuff.
I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and learning a little bit more about Swedish death cleaning if maybe you didn't really understand it before. Like I said, the book was super quick to read. I highly suggest it if you want some perspective on your clutter or the hard areas in your home, or you're just having a hard time parting with lots of extra random stuff in your house. As always, thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you all in my next video.